All right, Friday action has been completed here at the ITM Taupō Super400, and so cool to see supercars on track here. Back in New Zealand, we've got Chaz Mostert, we've got local hero Matt Payne, and we've got Will Davison, a trio of Ford drivers making their way into the Friday press conference. Let's dive into it with the man in the middle. Chaz, can you talk us through 90 minutes of running around here in Taupō and just what you learnt in such a frantic session that stayed green throughout the whole way?
Yeah, this is a really nice bench. I really like the height. Yeah, 90 minutes around here was pretty crazy. Yeah, I know the surface obviously takes me back to the old school Perth, or maybe even a little bit worse, to be honest, because it gives you a little bit of hope around here with a couple of patches, and you go, oh, that feels good and gripped up, and then all of a sudden you get to the next corner and you blaze past the apex. So it was a lot of fun. It's always nice as a driver to experience a new track. It's great here to be back in New Zealand. I love this type of temperature. The atmosphere's been amazing, as we saw yesterday into today. But yeah, 90 minutes. I don't think we all had any tyres left over from the end of that session. But yeah, this weekend is going to be super interesting. So I think from a spectacle watching from a fan, you know, watching cars slide around from the start of the stint to the end of the stint, it's going to be chaos, chaos is entertainment, and that's what we're in. We're in the entertainment business, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I might move it straight over to Matt, seeing as you've got a lot of local support with you this weekend. How are you harnessing all of that energy this week and then being able to go out there and do your job?
Yeah, obviously my first time racing in New Zealand is pretty special for me, and there's Taupō is obviously a pretty cool place to do it. So yeah, the fan reception is today at the sort of drive-in, I'm not sure what you call it, the Tractor Town parade was really cool coming in to the main street, and there's just like so many people packed there. It's something I've probably never experienced before, being as a main driver. So yeah, it was really cool. It was it's something that I've wanted to do. You know, obviously wanted to do it last year with Pukekohe being gone, but it's great that Supercars have taken the initiative and brought it back here to New Zealand, because I think it's really important for the fans here. But yeah, today was pretty good. We're sort of just running through our program, and like Chaz said, it's going to be a really interesting weekend with just the different services. Like you get into turn one, it's like, yeah, it feels like I got AGP grip, and then you get into the turn 11 or the back hip, and then it's like, oh man, I'm driving on ice. So it's definitely tricky to set the car up for that.
Nice, thank you, mate. The journos in the room will have plenty for you in a moment. Will, you did some laps here in the lead up to being over here, and was it a little 86 or something like that?
Yeah.
Helpful?
Yeah, I think most of us got over here, but it was fun, actually. I went out there, I'm like, okay, this car's a bit bigger than the 86. So just, yeah, you get a reference points, but yeah, I think it was my outlap, and I quickly realised that certainly manhandling one of the supercars was a very different story to the little 86. So yeah, it was helpful, but I think it was more you'd probably be at a disadvantage for about 10 minutes of that session if we didn't come over, because every driver did. But more probably the knowledge we got to be able to just identify some of the key things we spoke about with the surfaces and whatnot back to your team to give you the best heads up to roll out something reasonable is probably where the trip was beneficial.
There was a moment in that session when you and Anton were 1-2 in the time sheets, which is pretty cool. Do you feel like today's been a step in the right direction?
It's been our best probably rollout session of the year, but yeah, which is good. We need every little bit of positivity at the moment just to keep the spirits up. It's been a tough time for the team, and we know what we're all capable of. So it's just keeping together, sticking together. You get asked the same question every day. We like getting kicked when you're down at a team like ours, but that's normal. So we just keep knuckling down, keep trying to unlock the magic in this car. Whether we've done that today, I don't know. Obviously, we're at a very, very different style of circuit to really anywhere. So we had a feeling we'd have a pretty good car on a circuit like this, and it seems like we're okay today. I'm not too confident where we're at, but obviously it's been a good session for both of us, and now we've got a heap of stuff to look through because it was a spin out 90 minutes. You're just trying to adjust your driving, you're throwing changes at the car, and you're not really getting a true read because the grip changes so much run to run. So it's quite confusing, but yeah, I enjoyed the session. It was cool, really cool to learn a new circuit and try and get your head around it. I love that challenge.
Nice. Well, it's a busy little media centre, so why don't we dive into some questions from the journalists in the room.
Hey guys, there was a fair bit of talk in the lead up that because of the layout, how tight it is, the qualifying was going to be critical. It seems that now everyone's got a read on the deck that, you know, Chaz just said it's going to be chaos out there. Will and Matt, do you agree that we could see some sort of weird stuff going on in the race given the deck?
Yeah, for sure. I think you're going to see people that have got the car under them to get the job done. They're going to be way up the road on probably the other people that don't quite have the car on them and they're really struggling with the tyres. So I think there's going to be a big disparity of sort of who can hold on to it and who can't. So yeah, that obviously makes for good racing and it makes for a harder job for us, which is, I quite like it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, old school Perth races. You know, I've had memories over the years, although back in the Project Blueprint days, really, but there was big variation in cars. But I remember years, Frosty and I think, were lapped at Perth and Queensland Raceway. And then we've had races where you're winning and lapping everyone else with just huge variation in performance and tyre deg. So we're going to see that. Will we see the same variation we used to? I don't think, but everyone's going to be in a fair bit of strife in the stints. So if you can minimise that hurt, you're going to be having fun. There's going to be a lot of very unhappy, whinging drivers in the stints, I'd say, but it's going to be cool. It's got a lot of character.
What about the layout itself? Is it good fun, like fairly low speed? The hairpins both look pretty awkward. Is it good fun cruising around there? For anyone who wants it?
Yeah, the track's awesome. It's funny, you only saw for me, I didn't get to come over, so really only saw a 2D sheet to what the track layout looked like, and I thought, that's not, on a paper you think that the track's not going to be that fun to drive, but you come here and you see the bit of undulation, you see all the different types of bitumen that is around here, the curbs, you talk to some of the locals about when the A1 cars that came here and they extended it and all that kind of stuff. So this track itself, you already start to buy into the history of it, but then you drive it and you feel like you're also part of it. So it's going to be cool. And you look at it, it's probably compared to some of the tracks we go to a little bit narrower, but we've showed plenty of times over the years that even narrow tracks create great racing as long as it's got a spectacle to it, which here is the degradation. Yeah, I'm pretty keen to see the young pups that have come in the supercars the last year or two because they missed old school Perth when a couple of us older whippersnappers have been around there. And you've got to hang on to these things. They become, at that later in those stints, these cars become sometimes almost borderline undrivable. And I'm pretty keen to see the youth and the talent that's come through hopefully get their eyes opened up a little bit and have a bit more respect for guys like me and Will Davo.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously a big change now because the fuel drop's gone, and I'm just wondering, this obviously opens up strategies enormously. Just interested in your points of view on that whole change now with fuel drops gone and you can do what you want to in the way of fuel. Will, Chaz?
I think it's great, but we also need to get rid of the CPS type element as well. So leave it right open to the strategy. I'm sure there'll still be a right strategy and a wrong strategy, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. So it puts pressure under the guys in the lane too for quick tyre changes because we don't need to take so much fuel on. I know you see Formula One, they don't put any fuel in anymore and they run all type of different strategies. So I think it's in the right direction for sure. Even when we go to the 250k race, then drivers can, I remember when I first come into development series and there was those races where it's trying to save fuel and guys driving to a number to do it, watching Will Davo and Reynolds and Winterbottom when I was part of the old team I was with was like really cool watching them, do those calculations in their head as a driver and give another spectacle to try and do something different other than just trying to look after a tyre all the time.
Matt, you're one of those young pups was talked about before, and still early in your supercars career. But there's a lot of people here, come to see you this weekend and hoping, expecting a lot from you. How are you sort of managing to cope with that sort of pressure that might be on you?
Obviously I've never sort of experienced a home round before. For all the Aussies, it's always a home round for you guys overseas, which is pretty cool. But it's great to be in here in New Zealand, and I think for sure that you'd be silly to say there wasn't added pressure on myself to do well. But I think for me, I just sort of go into this weekend not really trying to think of it as a different weekend to something else. And, I'm going to approach this the same as I have been this year and just do my preparations and, just do the best work I can to try and extract the best result come tomorrow and Sunday.
Chaz, congratulations. Personally, it's been a big couple of weeks for you. Can you just talk us through how much that moment has meant to you after everything that you've been through?
Yeah, it's obviously amazing, but I feel a little bit guilty, not going to lie, going away to work while you've got a little family, young family at home. So, I'm lucky I've got an amazing partner that's, basically carrying the workload at home at the moment. And I feel like I have a whole new respect for mums out there, what every mum has to go through, because as a dad, you feel like you contributed probably about 10%. Definitely in the first probably 6 months, as everyone kind of tells me. So, like obviously my job's to come here and keep trying to win races, and I've got to keep focused on that. But it's pretty amazing when you see a little human at home, and thank God she looks like her mum, because she's very lucky in that. But it's a beautiful time for us. So a little bit less sleepless nights, but that's a lot more for Ree than what it is for me at the moment. So it's cool.
And just one for all three of you, or any of you, Brodie Cassidy back on the grid this weekend. Just your thoughts on that and what you think he's going to be capable of from here on in.
It's only been 2 events this year, so he's obviously, I don't even know how he went then, but it's obviously great he's back. Won't comment on what happened because I don't know. I don't think anyone does. So it's just hopefully he's happy, and obviously we want the champ on the grid. So I think it's good for everyone, and no doubt he'll be a threat. His only Adelaide was December, so 2 events. I'm not sure how much he would have lost out in that. Not much. So I'm sure he'll be a threat this weekend. You want the best guys out there. Good to see him.
Yeah, it's always good that the reigning champion's on the grid. But like Will said, we just hope he's happy and he's come back in a good frame. And you talk to him a little bit in the paddock. He seems in good spirits. He's ready to go racing. No doubt he's ready. Probably spoken to a few of us, ready to bash into a few of our doors. So which is good to see. So we hopefully get to see him out there, race against him, and hopefully he can bind his speed as quick as we can, because he makes everyone else lift in the championship too. Very for me, like what Gizzy did for us for a lot of years, and when McLaughlin was here, all those guys make every other team and every other driver step up to another level, and Brodie's that type of driver. So it's exciting to have him back.
Chaz, Paul Brucey's not here this week. He's been a bit under the weather lately. Just what's the vibe been like in the garage without him? He's probably bitterly disappointed to miss a race back in his homeland in New Zealand, I imagine. Yeah,
it's Bruce is a Kiwi, so he's missing his Kiwi round. That's probably the hardest one for him to miss all year, probably other than Bathurst. So obviously the team knows the job it needs to try and do this weekend. When you're kind of your fearless leaders not that well, you obviously want to do the job for him as well. So he gives his all for this sport in the background for the team and everything. So focused on trying to get the result for him, and that will put a bit more of a smile on his face back home. But as far as I know, what I've been told, he's doing well at the moment, which is great. So I'm sure as soon as he's well enough to come back to the track, he'll be here.
Is this a good chance for Carl Foe to really be team principal and get a bit of experience at managing the team away?
Not really. It's kind of like, even though we talk about changes into this year, those two are so good at, I like to think of them as a yin and yang. They kind of come together. Bruce's mindset from team culture to the marketing of the team is, second to no other team in the category. And then you got Carl, which is just so focused on performance of the cars and pushing forward. So, even though there was talk about different role changes and stuff this year, it really, for me, hasn't felt like much has changed. It's just about a different job title on a Walkinshaw Andretti United business card.
Finally, guys, the forecast tomorrow looks a little bit wet. Matt, your thoughts on racing here in the rain potentially tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to a bit of wet weather driving. I haven't sort of done it for a bit, and I always enjoy the wet, especially around here. I think it's going to be pretty sketchy. I remember test day long ago here, a few years ago for me, and it was wet, and the drainage was not amazing. So it's going to be interesting if it rains the whole day tomorrow. But bring it on.
Murph tells me the drainage has been improved over the years, which is good. Will, do you reckon it'll race like Barbagallo in the wet?
Race like Barbagallo?
In the rain? In the rain, if it rains here, would it be, since everyone says the surface is so similar to Wanneroo, would it be similar to Wanneroo?
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. We obviously have a softer wet than we had back in the Perth days, which we haven't done a huge amount of running on. So that could make it even extra spicy. So, sometimes, particularly if it's a cool place like it is, you're better to leave a wet on to keep the temperature in it in a pit stop, but I don't think that will be the case here. I think we'll see significant drop and gain by changing tyres, but we'll find out soon enough. It looks like it's I don't say 100%, I hope it is, because we used one extra tyre then than I wanted to, but assuming it would be wet so tomorrow. So bloody hope it is, otherwise I'll be...
You and a lot of people in pit lane, I think, at that point. Thank you, guys. Enjoy a good night's sleep tonight, Chaz, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thanks.